Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about a night in the life of an anxiety sufferer, okay? Somebody that's going through panic disorder like me, or somebody that had crippling health anxiety like I had. Nighttime was one of the worst times, of my life during that 5-year period when I was going through all these things. Morning was also really bad, and I made a video about morning anxiety. You can go check that out, but I promised somebody in the comment section I would do this video, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give some tips and advice and some things that can help you, that you can start implementing tonight to start getting results, possibly tonight. We want to be patient with this thing, but I'm telling you, if you apply everything that we're going to talk about later, things do get better, and they will get better. It's just going to depend on how bad your anxiety is and how willing you are to be consistent and to be brave and to courageous and show up and be disciplined and hold yourself accountable, okay? So today's question, guys, is kind of based off the title of today's video, the subject of the video. What are some things that have helped you when it comes down to night anxiety, okay? It could be one thing, it could be 10 things. In the video that I made the other day, or my last video, I was talking about signs of recovery, and one of the things that I mentioned, you just have this really big desire to help other people. This is a chance to do that. Some of you have some gold nuggets that you could leave in the comment section, and you know how the videos are. People are already scrolling right now, looking through everything. Leave some gold nuggets down there for other people, okay? And it's not just this video, any video that I do. So that's the question of the day. What are some things that have helped you with your night anxiety when things get rough at night for you? So I won't be too lengthy on this first part, because I kind of just want to get into the evening time and how things went, because there were a lot of things that happened. But you got to think about how this evening goes. Usually is momentum from earlier in the day or the night before, right? Usually whenever we're not getting good sleep and we're having an anxiety night, we've developed this association with nighttime. We had a bad experience at night, and now it's like, our bodies and our minds trying to protect us every time the sun starts to go down. So we had a really bad experience. We reacted in a fearful way. We justified that the symptoms that were happening to us at that time, whether it be a headache, some chest pain, or a panic attack, that they were needed by our fearful responses. So then the mind and body's like, okay, well, next time that happens, or next time we're getting in bed, or next time the sun goes down, or we don't have any distractions, I'm going to try to keep you out of danger by getting you to get up or go to the hospital, or get up, get out of bed. Don't just lay here. So that's why this happens. Those of you that are suffering from this, you have created an association. Now, for some of you, this just started. If it just started, yeah, you could probably get out of it faster than somebody that's been dealing with this every single night for a year. Now, if you've been dealing with this for every single night for a year, and, I think I would almost put myself in this category. Just about every night was terrible for me that first year. You can still get out of it. It's just going to take a little bit more consistency. It doesn't mean it's going to take a year of you going through hell to get out of that because you've had it for a year. It doesn't mean that. Don't think like that. It's not a productive way to think anyways. But it just means that it's going to take a little bit more time, and that's okay, and you have to be willing to do that. But we have created these strong associations. We have told the subconscious and the body to act this way. Indirectly, we don't know what we're doing. We just don't like the way that we feel, and we're frustrated and we want to get sleep. Showing fear, frustration, annoyance, getting mad or upset, and then our belief goes away, and then the doubt comes in that we're going to get out of this, and guess what? It happens again and again and again. So that's what's going on. We have an association with nighttime, with darkness, that it's a time of panic or anxiety or insomnia, okay? And also, you have to think about the night before. If you had a really bad night, you probably did not have a great morning. So my morning anxiety would be terrible if I had a bad night. You got to ask yourself, did I do a lot of drinking or any substance abuse and stuff like, because that's going to make the next morning hellacious. And then guess what? You're off to the races when it comes to anxiety. Now your morning's crap, the drive to work or school's crap, your day at school or work is crap, and then the drive home. That's where I kind of want to kick this off. I would get off at different periods, obviously, depending on the job and the shift, right? Some days it'd be earlier in the afternoon. Some days it would be getting dark, or it would already be dark. If it was a little bit earlier in the afternoon, I felt like that helped me a little bit with positivity. I think there's just a sense of negativity and fear that comes with darkness in general. I think that's natural. So whenever you mix it in with the negativity, the fear, and the catastrophizing of anxiety, because I didn't struggle with that a ton before, but whenever I had anxiety, just like I would start to feel depressed, and then I would just feel like naturally my vitals would start to go up. But the drive home is what would kick this off. It'd be a tad bit better if it was, say I'm getting off of work at 2 or 3 o'clock versus getting off at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night or 9 or something. It'd be a little bit better, but the problem was I would have the driving anxiety. So my symptoms are already getting ramped up kind of regardless of what time it is. I would start to clench my chest, I'd start to rub, I would have a permanent red mark here. You know, I'd have the left arm numbness or pain, tingling, you know, racing thoughts. I already started in on my heart fears. I'm checking my heart rate. You know, I know my blood pressure was through the roof on these drives home. I'd have to pull over multiple times. I'm driving faster than what I should. You know, I'm white knuckling the freaking steering wheel. Chugging cold water. I would always have to be stocked up on cold water in the car, and I'm just trying to get home before I die. You know what I mean? So that's setting the stage for a great evening, right? And the way that I'm describing this is before I did anything. I just want you to see how bad it got. So I'm already setting the stage for a bad evening, and then the mind, if it's later in the day, it's even worse because I'm like, oh man, you know, it's already late. I got to work early in the morning. You know, my shifts are changing up, and like we have a Jordan launch that we have to do, a shoe launch tomorrow. I got to unlock the store at 6 o'clock, and everybody's going to be already grumpy and in line waiting for me anyways. And you know, like I'm already working myself up. So I have the driving anxiety on the way home. The sun's starting to go down. It's getting later in the day. I have anticipatory anxiety about the night. And that's where another big problem arises, is the anticipatory anxiety. If you think that tonight is going to suck, why wouldn't it? You're not giving yourself a freaking chance at all. And yeah, I wasn't giving myself a chance most of these nights, if any. I was just already saying negative crap like it's going to be bad. I'm not going to get any sleep. It's going to be so hard for me to get to work on time tomorrow. It's going to suck. My panic is going to be bad. Last night really sucked. Maybe I'm thinking about drinking a lot of alcohol tonight so I can actually fall asleep. But then I'm thinking, well, if I drink a whole lot of alcohol, tomorrow morning is going to even be more hellacious. So it's like, it's a trade-off. I can fall asleep and numb my symptoms, and then tomorrow will be crap. You know what I mean? With tomorrow being crap. So, you know, so that's a whole different set of a problem. I'll make a whole video aside for that, but let's assume that I didn't have any alcohol or I didn't have any money for it or whatever. I'd get home, you know, I might have a little bit of a time to kind of just settle down a little bit because I just got out of the car and I was just thankful to get home. Like, I didn't die on the way home. I didn't have that heart attack. Nothing bad happened on the way home, so I'm thankful for that. Got home in one piece and I didn't die, right? I didn't hurt myself. I didn't hurt somebody else. I didn't pass out. I didn't have a seizure, any of those things. So I get home, you know, and again, if I'm not turning to alcohol to try to numb myself, you know, I would, you know, just kind of chill, get on my phone or watch some TV. I mean, that's around dinner time. Start thinking about what I'm going to eat that evening. Get some food, and then again, whenever it came down to dinner and eating food and shit like that, like I would get triggered sometimes depending on what I ate. And this, again, I'm telling you the worst case because like this is before I learned my lesson and started to change up my diet to help me out, you know. So I would eat crap, you know. Either I'd stop on the way back and get some fast food, or maybe I'd leave again if I got home earlier to go get some fast food, or we just eat junk around the house. Heavy on pasta, you know, burgers, fries, pizza, just anything bad, you name it, and you just get loaded up on that. Well, I have heart anxiety. Guess what that's going to do? My vitals are going to go up, my heart rate's going to go up, my blood pressure is going to go up, my heartburn is going to start kicking in, the GERD, the acid reflux, the indigestion. Guess what? Now I got gas moving around in my stomach's starting to hurt. My digestion was really, really rough during this period of time. It was really, really rough. So you add that into everything. So now my body's starting to act all crazy because of this heavy carb meal that I just ate. And this is before I switched things up. I started to find out that if I cut out the heavy carbs and some of the sauces and stuff like that and cut back on sodium a little bit, things went much smoother. I just had to do that combined with some exercise and all those things. But this is before I learned my lesson. So I would eat my dinner, then my vitals would start to go up. I would literally think like, did I just eat something so bad that it's gonna thicken my blood up and I'm gonna clog my arteries and die? You know what I mean? Tonight, that fast, as if it happened that quickly. Is my blood sugar gonna go up so fast that something's gonna happen? And then my heartburn would kick in, and then it started to confuse me with symptoms, like, because, you know, it would get up here and it's confusing. Is it my heart or is it my heartburn? You know, so that would kick in. So now things are, you know, it's starting to get time for bed, you know, and I lived in a couple of different places throughout this process. So again, it would be different for different situations, but generally the people that I was with, none of the people that I would be living with at the time had these issues. So that comes to the next deal. I didn't feel like I could relate with anybody. You start to kind of burn your bridges with reassurance and conversation about these things. People eventually will get tired of listening to you. I'm sorry. I just feel like that's how it is for a lot of us, even the people that we love and who love us the most. They will kind of get tired of this, and they'll let you know. They'll be like, look, I just told you you're fine. You're not going to die. It could be your mom, your dad, your spouse, you know, your boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be your siblings. It could be friends. I mean, I lived with friends for a while, and I know they got tired of hearing me talk about it all the time. But, you know, we feel alone and desperate, and then it starts to get, you know, we start to really think about that as the sun goes down, because, like, man, these people are about to go to sleep, man. I'm about to be by myself. And that's another aspect of night anxiety, the loneliness. We're alone. We can't find conversation as much. You know, we run into that dilemma of, like, should I call this person? It's 1:30 at night. Are they going to get annoyed if I call them? You know, should I wake this person up? You know, and then for me, you know, my mom would take it to the next level, guys, and I'd be afraid that I was going to die or I was going to have a heart attack, and then, you know, people weren't going to see it or witness it or help me get help. So that would scare me. I mean, there were nights, guys, that I would go park at the ER. I've talked about this before. I'd go to the parking lot and I'd just sit there all night, just in case I was going to have a heart attack or I felt like my symptoms were going to escalate so bad that I could just, like, crawl in there and get some help. So I did that a few nights. So say I'm trying to lay down, there's nobody to talk to, the lights are off, I'd have TV on or something like that. That's when things would just crank up. I had really bad anxiety when it came down to being very, very still, because something else that happens at night, guys, you can hear your symptoms so much more. You can feel everything so much more. You can feel your heart rate. You can hear your heart rate in your pillow. What's that about, you know? I'm going to make a video separate just about that. I think that's an interesting thing that a lot of us go through. You can see your heartbeat in your stomach, just boom, 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 boom. I made a video about that a while back. That's another interesting thing when it comes to heart anxiety. But you can feel your food that you had earlier moving through your digestive system. This is also, I'll go ahead and give you this tip now, eat earlier. You know, leave a few hours after you eat to digest your food, go for a walk. So this is all done by the time you're laying down, so you don't have to go through all the, I'm not saying it clears everything up, but it helps not have the heartburn, the GERD, the indigestion, the gas moving around, the stomach pains, or feeling like you have to go to the bathroom, because this is something else that would happen. I'd have my dinner, everything like that. Digestion is no longer a priority when you're anxious. Okay, well, I have a panic attack, everything would turn to liquid. I know it's TMI, but I just want to share with you guys so you don't feel alone, for some of you anyways. So then I'm having to have diarrhea and everything like that. So I'm also having chest pains. My body would just tighten up, and it's so ironic. This is when you're supposed to relax and, you know, be enjoying your evening and you're just getting ready to go to dreamland and get some rest and sleep. But my body would ironically start to tighten at night. So a lot of that came down to being still. And then I would run into this other problem where, like, okay, well, if I'm going to keep on having, you know, this panic, I'm going to have this tension, I'm going to have these jolts and all this stuff, I'm going to get up and just move around and pace around. And sometimes that's not bad if you want to try to reset. So it's worth a shot. But for me, it would just keep on going. It didn't help. One of the things that I wish that I would do was to just show a little bit more courage and bravery and just, like, sit there with it and let it be there to show myself that, you know, if I lay here, I'm not going to die, that I don't have to get up. I really wish I didn't exhibit all the behaviors that I showed, so I could show my subconscious that these symptoms at night were not needed, and this association would start to break down faster. So that's another tip that I'm giving you. Try to be there with it. Don't show any resistance, okay? It's okay to be uncomfortable and be afraid. That's not the problem. It's just your response and your behaviors. Don't feel like you have to get up and pace around and move around, do all the checking, the vital checking, the running your hands over your, whatever, your hair, your face, you're rubbing your sternum like I would, and constantly massaging and smeeshing and smooshing and smashing everything, just poking and prodding. Just don't. Okay, just be still and be there with it. Let go of control, show no resistance, become more of an observer of the symptoms and the thoughts, and let them flow through you like water. Okay, so try to do that. That helps. And I got to that point to where I would do it, and eventually you will have to get to that point to finally get this association to go away, by the way. But anyways, say I come back to bed and finally, like, I did my pace around, this thing ain't working, gosh, so I go lay down, and sometimes I would try to take Benadryl. I would take that. Sometimes that helped, sometimes it didn't. So again, we're talking about worst case scenario night, basically. So I'm laying there, I'm going to sleep, and then bam, I would get these jolts. So I would jolt awake. You got to think about it. At first I was confused. I was like, why is this happening? We all grow up, we have that falling sensation, off and on. I think it's normal, especially when we're falling asleep. It happens on and off in our life. But I'm talking about it happening 10, 15, 20 times in one night, me jolting awake. And my theory behind this, which makes sense in a lot of different areas of anxiety, we're in survival mode. Our body doesn't want us to fall asleep because the tiger will get us, or the robber will come in and shoot us and get our stuff. Or it's like being at battle and being in the trench, and you're falling asleep, but your body keeps you awake because what if the enemy comes? They could come at any time. It's hard to sleep, right? So that's my theory. The jolts are there to keep, like, wait a second, no, get up. You got to be ready. You got to be alert. You got to be ready to fight. And with those jolts, the heart rate goes up and things like that. Then there's some of you that actually get past the jolts. You finally kind of fall asleep. Maybe you're letting go of control of some of those symptoms. And then we get those freaking nocturnal panic attacks where you wake up. Maybe you were asleep 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Maybe you were lucky enough to get 2-3 hours. And you wake up in full panic, gasping. And it sucks having these at night. Sometimes it sucks every time. But it sucks in a different way than having it during the day. At least during the day, a little less confusion, a little bit of more awareness of what's happening, right? And you've had it before, and you know who you are and what you're doing. Coming out of a dream or out of a deep sleep, and then bam, gasping for air, huffing and puffing, heart going a million miles an hour, dizziness, throat closing up, blurry vision. That's one of the scariest things. Sorry, I still got some of this phlegm I'm working on. Sorry about that. But anyways, nocturnal attacks, and then you're disoriented, you're confused. Some of you haven't even had the ability to fully wake up. So I had that happen quite a few times, and then bam, now it's like I've signed myself, well, I didn't sign myself up for it. My subconscious just did what it wanted to do in the middle of the night. And now I'm signed up. Somebody signed me up for another 2 or 3 hours of trying to get my body to settle down again. Right? And you don't have to be having panic attacks to struggle with this. Think of it as like just an engine being revved up. It could just, it doesn't have to be all the way down. You're just constantly revved up and everything like that throughout the night. And I didn't talk about other symptoms like headaches and some of this. You can have anything. Then the shakes, the tremors, everything like that, guys, can happen. And then, there would be times where I wouldn't get sleep for a couple days. And whenever I say I didn't get sleep, I mean, I'd be tired, I'd jolt awake, or maybe I'd be asleep technically for a few minutes or 10 minutes, and I'm waking up in panic. So I would have that for a couple days. This would kind of be the cycle. It's hard. I know that this wasn't how it was just nonstop, but I'm trying to give you guys the best visual of what it was like for me. It'd be like a really rough 1 to 2 nights, and then I would have to catch up, that second or third day, and then I would oversleep. So I'd get too much sleep, and then it would just go back and forth between that. And again, if I was able to have Benadryl, sometimes I felt like that helped. It was better than me drinking. So, that could be an option versus the drinking. But I don't even want you guys to get in the habit of having to take Benadryl and Tylenol PM and stuff like that. So I guess something to look into, guys, would be melatonin or things like ZQL and stuff like that. And if you need to talk to your doctor about those things or do some additional research, do it. I know there's more things like that that can help you with sleep. But the biggest thing to start with today would be to work on your anticipatory anxiety. You have to have belief that tonight can be different. If you don't believe it, then your subconscious sure as hell is not going to believe it. can't talk today, guys. You have to start believing it first for your subconscious to eventually be like, okay. It's momentum. You have to show leadership, bravery, and courage. Tonight can be different. We can get sleep. And even if tonight is rough subconscious, I'm going to do the right things. Okay, so the anticipatory anxiety has to be worked on and fixed first. And the belief system. Tonight could be good. Now, start visualizing tonight being good on the way home from work or throughout the day or in the morning. Visualize you laying in bed and being at peace and not having symptoms and closing your eyes. Visualize dreaming. Visualize waking up in the morning and feeling refreshed. Plant those seeds. Manifest it. So visualization is something that you could be doing. Nighttime affirmations can help you with this. Write a list of nighttime affirmations. You can just use ChatGPT. Get on Google. You'll find a whole bunch of them. Start planting those seeds up here in the subconscious. So the anticipatory anxiety, the belief system has to be there. Nighttime affirmations to help you with that process. And visualization to help you even more so with that process. So those are things that can help with the foundation of this, okay? I mentioned exercise, or I didn't mention exercise, I mentioned eating earlier. Stop making your body go through hell with digestion, just 15, 20 minutes after you ate. Give yourself 2 to 3 hours after you eat dinner. Back the dinner up a little bit more. I know for some of you, it's not gonna be as easy with your schedule, I get it. Just do the best that you can. Go for a walk after that. Just a nice peaceful walk. I get you might still have symptoms and struggle. Try to go for a walk to help ease digestion. If you're gonna do working out, I would encourage you to work out more so in the mornings. I don't want you to rev all your vitals up and get overly excited and all this stuff, not excited in a good way, but just like hijack everything, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. And for some of you, you like to go to the gym at night. Now, if this is the only time that you're gonna go and this is non-negotiable, then just keep doing what you're doing. I'd rather you at least be able to work out and be able to tell yourself, look, I'm healthy, my heart's good and everything like that. But I'm just thinking of it in a way of like revving your engine up. I'd rather that happen earlier in the day instead of right before we're trying to relax and lay down and go to sleep. Things like that. Cold showers in the evening. I know it seems weird. Trey, wouldn't that keep you awake? Ironically, if our anxiety is that bad and our subconscious is in that bad of shape and our sensitivity is so bad, the cold water is going to actually help desensitize us and help us with sleep. So try the cold water as well. Something else I would like for you guys to have is a reflection period. Reflection / journaling / mindfulness period in your evening, if you can fit that in, even if it's only 15, 20 minutes. Get you a journal, okay? Do some positive reflection. Think about the good things that happened today. If you had some issues or some negative aspects to the day, what can I do to change that? A little bit of an accountability kind of reflection, if that makes sense. And a little bit of mindfulness to help calm the body. For some of you, when it comes down to meditation and maybe progressive muscle relaxation exercises, self-regulation, things like that. Like I said, this is practice to help us get used to being still. For some of you, it's going to be exposure. For me, it was exposure whenever I was trying to do these things. I felt really uncomfortable doing them, but it kind of gets you used to it. And if you can do it in a controlled environment, instead of like I have to lay down and go to sleep, I think this can help you prepare you for the evening. So I would have a time period where, I would have some reflection, a little bit of journaling, a little bit of accountability on what you can do better this evening and tomorrow. Kind of a learning process. I'm going to learn from yesterday and try to fix my mistakes or get better at things. And then have some mindfulness, a little bit of meditation, some relaxing stuff. You can do that with music or anything, or guided meditations on YouTube. And then things like diet, guys, and what you're putting in your body. Obviously, having caffeine and stuff like that before bed is not going to be good. Alcohol can be deceiving. It can knock out symptoms quickly and make you pass out. But the next day is hellacious. And also, I want you to know that aside from being dehydrated and it just not being good for your mental health and your anxiety and the fact that you can get into an addictive cycle, it also disrupts your sleep. So you're not getting high quality sleep anyways. So that's also why it makes the next day really bad. So getting away from that. Nicotine, tobacco products, guys, you got to get away from that. Some of you are vaping into bed, vaping right before bed. A lot of sugar before bed is not going to be good for you, so get away from things like that. I would encourage you to have a healthy dinner if possible. For a lot of you, we make excuses on this stuff, you can start eating healthier, you know, and you can figure out ways to afford it. I'm telling you guys, it's more affordable than you think. You may not be able to buy the luxurious stuff, but there are basic ingredients that you can get that are a lot more healthier than the processed stuff. Again, this is going to help you with digestion when you're trying to lay down and go to sleep at night. So that's something that you got to work on, as well as the food problem with that. Now remember, bright lights. This, I should have mentioned this even earlier. If you're sitting on your phone, and a lot of you are trying to distract yourself, I get it. Sitting on your phones right here in your face, your tablets, your iPads, you're playing games all night, watching TV. Guys, you're gonna have to sacrifice that stuff. The bright light is not, I don't think that you guys realize how significant that is. Again, that'd be worth a read or some research. Go look into it on your own. It significantly can disrupt your sleep and delay it hours. Put the phones down, I would encourage you to be done with all your electronics at least 30, 45 minutes before you get into bed. I'm telling you guys, some of you are going to refuse to do this. Like, I game because it gets me out of my head. I get distracted because I'm on your phone, on my phone and all that stuff. We got to start thinking long run instead of short-term satisfaction and relief or self-comfort or whatever. Bubble. We got to get outside of that to make this go away, because the problem is going to be there when you turn your phone off. We might as well go ahead and face the problem without having to rely on getting on our phone. Not to mention the bright screen is going to keep you up later. So get away from the screen time. And then also this is another big one. Make a list of all the anxious behaviors that you exhibit at night whenever you have anxiety. For some of you, it's this. For some of you, it's this. For some of you, it's this. For some of you, it's that. For some of you, it's this. All those things, make a list. Stop exhibiting those behaviors, because you're going to be able to show your subconscious those behaviors are not needed. This situation is not dangerous, because if you're going to distraction constantly or having to go to this or go to that, you're showing your subconscious that evenings are dangerous, and you're doing that through your behaviors. So it's not just about saying the right stuff. It's about doing the right stuff, you know, not just talking the talk, back it up with your walk, with your actions. So you're waking up in the morning, tonight's gonna be great and all this stuff. And then later on you're doing this, or you're Googling your symptoms, or you're having to escape through a game. Like, no, you don't. Tonight, we're going to lay down and we're going to be here. We're going to let things flow through us. And remember, when it comes to the responses, let things flow like energy, like water. Let it flow through you. No resistance. Don't hold on to anything. Don't double down on it. It keeps things there. Same thing with thoughts. I know I always talk about symptoms a little bit more than thoughts, but I'm telling you, for those of you having the crazy thoughts, the irrational thoughts, the intrusive thoughts especially, same concept. Let them flow. Don't have any crazy judgment on them. Just be an observer. That's a wild thought. Doesn't indicate who I am. That's not in my heart. So I'm gonna let that intrusive thought go. You know, otherwise it's like, don't think of a blue elephant. All you can think of is a blue elephant. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to shut it out, just like you're trying to shut these symptoms out. Let these symptoms flow, bro. Let them flow. If you watched all this, go down below and put, tonight can be different. Tonight can be different. More step-by-step process. Grab my course today, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp, down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. It's going to have the affirmations, the gratitude affirmations. It can help you with your diet, of course. It's going to help you with different concepts and perception changes, the foundation, the mentality that you need to get past this. So close to 100 extra bonus videos that you're not going to see here on the channel. And then a bunch of downloadables and stuff like that, and tools that are going to help you along the way. So check that out if you haven't. If you're interested in doing coaching calls with me, I have an email for that also down below. You can send me an email and I'll send you my info back to you, and we can get that going. Please subscribe if you're new, guys, and until next time, keep fighting.